How's it going, everyone? Today I want to break down exactly how we run ads for law firms in 2026 and how you can implement our strategy for your law firm or for yourself. Now, again, before we get into this video, I want to explain a little bit about who I am and what it is that we do. My name is Viralhazi. I own Caseflow Marketing, and we run ads for immigration attorneys, personal injury attorneys as well. And what we do is we handle everything from A to Z, meaning we help you get the leads, we qualify the leads with our in-house intake specialists, and we make sure that A, if you do free consultations, we get them booked into your calendar and the leads are qualified, or B, if you guys charge for consultations, we make sure that they're money qualified and that they're able to pay for a consultation and get them booked into your calendar. So that sums up exactly what it is that we do, and how we do it is what I'm about to show you. So let's jump right in. But before we jump in, I do want to mention one thing. Now, if you're not a personal injury attorney or a immigration attorney, this process still works for your law firm. The only reason I mentioned personal injury and immigration is because that's what we specialize in. But if you're in any other type of niche for law, it works for you too. So with that being said, the first thing that you're going to want to do is come up with your ICP. Now, a lot of people throw this word out there, but not a lot of people know what it actually means. An ICP is your ideal customer profile, okay? This is essentially a brief description of what sums up your ideal customer, right? So as you can see, it goes from top down. It's like a funnel shape is how the way that I like to break it down to people. As you can see, the first square, we start very broad. So with an ICP, you want to start broad and kind of narrow down to what your ideal customer looks like. So first things first, what do? We want to start with industry/service, right? In this case, I made an example for everyone to make it super simple. Our industry and service is immigration law, asylum cases. Let's say you're an attorney that wants to get more asylum cases. That is what we would put. The reason why an ICP is extremely important before we start our process is because without an ICP, we cannot get qualified leads. I repeat this, I cannot express this enough. If we do not build an ICP, we will not get qualified leads. And I'll explain a little bit more further on once we get further along the video why this matters, but it'll all make sense later on in the video. So with that being said, personal injury attorney, we can put right here. Let's say we want more 18-wheeler cases. We put that right there, okay? With that being said, now demographic, age, gender, race. Now, keep in mind, not every single thing needs to be filled out. In this case, as you can see for our example, we put Spanish-speaking 20-plus-year-olds, non-gender specific, right? So we're not too specific on race. We're not too specific on gender, but we do need them to speak Spanish, and we want them to be at least 20 years old and up. Now, if they speak Spanish, chances are they're Latino or there's some sort of Hispanic, right? So with that being said, we kind of did touch into race a little bit, but we specifically narrowed down to Spanish speaking. If we go one step further, right, we now know we want people who are in seek of an asylum case or in seek of representation for asylum, and they speak Spanish, they're over the age of 20, and they can be boy or girl, right? So now let's figure out what are the pain points of this type of person, right? Some of these pain points can be urgency, afraid of deportation, fear. All these types of things are things that maybe someone seeking asylum is looking for, is experiencing. So with that being said, we want to come up with a series of pain points, but I will show you guys exactly how to come up with pain points in a moment. I have a very specific strategy on how to come up with pain points, so we'll go through that here in a second. So next thing, we want to take it down another notch, right? We want to be, okay, we know who we kind of are looking for, but we're not there yet. So location, if required, okay? If you're an attorney who only wants to target leads who are in a specific location, let's say your law firm's located in Dallas, Texas, we want to set our ICP, people who are in Dallas, Texas, who are in seek of representation for asylum cases, who are at least 20 years old and speak Spanish, right? In this case, they're also experiencing urgency or afraid of deportation or some sort of fear. With that being said, that sums up our ICP. We have a very clear understanding of who we're targeting and what their situation looks like. So again, this will all make sense of why we needed to do this, which brings me to my next step, our offer creation. Now that we understand who our ICP is, we can actually come up with our offer, our service. What are we promoting, right? I know. You probably think that what's the point in creating an ICP if we already know what we want to offer? Well, because we need to understand who we're targeting, right? It's like a doctor trying to sell a cure to someone who's not sick, right? He's selling a good cure, it works, and someone's in need of it, but just not that person. because they're not sick. They don't have the symptoms. So with that being said, your ICP will allow us to determine what those symptoms are. 20 plus years old, Spanish speaking, asylum cases, urgency, fear. These are all symptoms. Dallas, Texas, these are all symptoms of our ideal customer, right? And our offer is much more clear once we understand the symptoms. So what do we do, right? What is an offer, you may ask? Your offer is essentially the thing that you're offering to your customers through your advertisement, whether that be in Meta, Google Ads, whatever it is. We all need an offer no matter what platform you're on. With that being said, I went ahead and provided a one-liner that you can provide to your AI, your LLM, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Manus, any AI really works, Google Gemini. All those are great. So what I like to do with everyone that I work with is we go ahead and copy this one-liner, right? And we go ahead and go over to, well, I'm gonna use Claude, for example. We're gonna drop this in here, okay? I am blank/niche. Help me come up with my offer for my ads using this framework above. Now, where's the framework? The framework is right here. This is why we needed this very much, because now what we're going to do is take a screenshot of this ICP and we're going to provide it to our AI, and they're going to go ahead and help us come up with a one-liner offer. Now let's jump right in. Okay, let's do this one more time. So now that we took our screenshot, we imported it to Claude, we want to go ahead and fill in our one-liner. So what we're going to go ahead and do is just hover over this, and since we did immigration attorneys in our ICP, it should stay the same. So we're going to go ahead and type in immigration lawyer, and we're going to say asylum cases. I like to be a little bit specific, so let's go ahead and throw in the actual case that we're trying to promote. Okay. So as you can see now, it says I'm an immigration attorney, asylum cases. Help me come up with my offer for my ads using this framework. Cool. Let's go ahead and paste that. So while this renders, I want to go ahead and note that we use Claude. So right now the AI is working on this. It's going to take everything from our ICP. It's going to analyze it. It's going to use our text to understand what we're trying to achieve here. And as you can see, it went ahead and did that. It was extremely fast. And let's see what it came up with. So as you can see, it came up with the core offer. This is what we're going to want to go ahead and look for. All of your guys' responses will look a little bit different, but you should have a one-liner that reads similar or along the lines. It might give you a couple of options. It's up to you to pick the best one that you guys like. In this case, this is what it came up with for us. Here's a free 15-minute confidential asylum case review in Spanish the same day from a real Dallas immigration attorney, right? This is a quick core offer. This is just our one-liner to get our, creative juices flowing and understanding what we're offering our customers, right? It summed it up and it said it in a very concise way so that now when we come up with our ads and we create our ads, we know exactly what should be on the ads. So this information should be in our advertisement in every single ad, whether it's a photo, whether it's a script, a talking head video, we should communicate this message every single time. So now that we have that, we're gonna go ahead and take that, right? So obviously it came up with some other stuff here based on what we put in our ICP. As you can see, it's very big on the 100% in Spanish. These are all things that we told it to do, right? What I would do is ignore all of this because now we're on to our next step. This is where things get crazy, okay? So let's go back to our workflow, offer creation, right? We have our offer. Let's go ahead and paste that below. So this is our offer right here. Free 15-minute confidential asylum case review in Spanish, same day from a real Dallas immigration attorney, right? Now that we have our offer, we can finally start working on some ads, okay? We can start scripting ads. But you may be asking, Hazi, whoa, slow down. We have our offer, but what do I say in these ads? What am I going to say? What do I do? So don't worry. We've got it all figured out for you. I'm going to show you exactly what to do next. So as you guys can see here, I want you guys to take this prompt, okay? I'm going to go ahead and provide this in the link below. You guys can copy and paste these exact prompts that I'm feeding my AI, so you guys can prompt them, so you guys can paste them into your AI as well. So we're gonna wanna go ahead and take this second one down here. As you can see, we already used this top one. So here it says, here is a list of pain points, misconceptions, and struggles my ideal customer faces. Based on this information, help me generate unique ad angles I can use to run ads. For each angle, give me a hook, the core pain or emotion being addressed, and a one-line example I can use in an ad headline or a script. So, boom. Now that we copied that, we go back over to our AI, we paste that in there, and let's just go ahead and do some parentheses. It doesn't have to be anything too fancy. I want you to go ahead and list every single pain point that you and your team have experienced working with your leads, working with any customers, any past clients. List them down below here, okay? Whether you're in personal injury, immigration, business law, it doesn't matter. I want you guys to go ahead and list it all right here, okay? Let's go ahead. So as you can see, I listed a couple of fears that an immigration attorney might encounter with working some of these leads. So some of them that I listed was fear, they don't know who to trust, lack of information, they've been scammed before, or they think they can do the process themselves, and fear of filling information out incorrectly and submitting it to USCIS. So let's go ahead and paste this in there. Now that you guys have your pain points, you don't have to come up with a bunch. It'll help you. This is the point of this prompt. Just come up with the ones that are most important to you, that you guys constantly running into. So while it's working on that, I do want to add that whatever AI model you guys are working with, it'll work, but I do want to mention that we recommend working with Claude. This is not sponsored. By no means is this video sponsored by Claude, but we just like to recommend that to all of our clients because it's what we actively use for our clients, for our agency. It gives us the best responses. It communicates our message the best, and we feel like it understands everything better than most AIs out there currently. If you're watching this video, it's currently April 23rd, and that's what we're currently using. So make sure you guys check it out and give it a chance, because honestly, this thing has insane capabilities on what it can do for your law firm, what it can do for your marketing agency. It has endless capabilities. So now what it did was it came up with 10 pain points that we can use for our ads. Now these pain points are not just ready to throw in and, use this as an ad, right? So we need to kind of come up with a script. Let's see some of the ones that I came up with, right? The notary warning angle, right? So this is just warning people about scams and to not fall for it, right? So another angle, it's the wrong box angle. So a single error on an I-589 form can cause you guys get your case denied, and that is something that would instill fear into our ideal prospect, right? So we'll get a lot of people who are in fear of filling out information incorrectly, and the list goes on, right? I don't want to go through the entire list, because for most of you guys watching this video, you guys have different niches you guys are working with, and this might not apply to you. But once you have these 10 angles, I want you guys to pick 5 of the best ones, right? So we're gonna go ahead and do this. We're just gonna pick the top 5 right here, okay? Now that we have these 5 angles, this is what we're gonna do next. We're gonna turn these into full-on ads. So what we want to go ahead and do is paste them in here, okay? We have our 5 ads, and the next thing we're going to want to go ahead and do is copy this entire prompt back to that Google Docs that you guys can find down below. We're going to copy this, okay? The reason why this is important is because this is the framework that we need ads to be in, okay? I want to let you guys right now, this is the exact framework that all of our clients use to generate qualified leads, and this is the exact same thing you're going to paste into your AI so you guys can get some good quality leads as well. And I want to go ahead and break this down. Now that we have it pasted in here, we have everything ready to go. This is the framework that we're going to be using, but I want to go ahead and explain why this framework is different than just, trying to script it yourself or just asking the AI to script these into ads. Reason why is because we want to call out our prospect, right? We want to lead with pain. Most people are tired of seeing advertisements. They're tired of seeing ads. Every other video that you see on social media is an ad or someone trying to sell you something. It's no longer someone looking out for you. It's no longer someone calling out to you. It's no longer personalized. So the way that we do that is we call out our prospect. Who are we talking to? and we lead with the pain, the situation that they're in. So, for example, we're calling out someone who's been injured in an accident and just doesn't know what to do next. So, our offer call out. This is our next step. Our firm fights to get you maximum compensation at zero cost to you unless we win. We've gone ahead and established who we are, what we do, and what we're going to do for them. So at zero cost. Okay, cool. But now it leaves the prospect asking, what sets you apart? You know, what's the difference between your ad and everybody else's ad? This is where we want to establish trust and credibility. So we say things like, we've recovered over 50 million for clients across Texas and have a 97% success rate, right? This is just a quick example to give the AI so it understands what to say. But obviously, if you're in another niche, this will look a lot different for you. That's why it's important that we copy and paste this framework into our AI. Right? The next step. Now, this is something that most marketing agencies and people forget to do, and that's disqualify at the call to action. Most people would just cut it there and just go straight for the kill. They would say, make sure to click a link below and our team will speak to you. But what we like to do is we like to disqualify at the call to action. We want to kick some people out. We don't just want everybody that sees our ad to book a call, right? We want to let them know that this might not be for you. So we say things like, if your accident has happened within the last 2 years and you haven't settled yet, call us now for a free consultation. Now, what does this tell us? We're not going to get anyone who has been in an accident for longer than 2 years, or people who have already started their process because they're already in the process of settling, right? We want to target those people that are in our scope and not people who are unqualified. So this is extremely important to do. That's why, again, I want to iterate this. It's important that we follow along with this framework and we copy and paste this to our AI so it understands what to do next. Great. So now that we have that, we have our we have our 5 ad angles and we have our framework. We go ahead and press send and it'll help us come up with our scripts. Okay. Now, I want to refer back to this while that is loading really quick. Again, so when it comes to these videos, we recommend working with AI. We recommend working with videos rather than, static images, photo ads. We've seen a lot of success with video ads compared to static. Now, I'm not saying static photos do not work. By no means. Those work just fine. The reason that we recommend doing video ads is because it builds trust. If you're in an industry like immigration, you want to develop trust out the gate. You don't want to give them a reason to doubt you. You don't want to give them a reason to go to the next ad or the next firm that's offering what you might be offering, right? So it's super important that we target these individuals. We make it a personalized experience. And what better way to do that than giving them a face to look at and understand that you're looking out for their best interests. Now, the same goes for personal injury attorneys. It's the same thing, right? You want to make sure that you're looking out for them and that you are here to help them, right? That's how we want to make it feel, because at the end of the day, that is what we're doing. So as you can see, we go back to our AI. It is done, okay? It is finally done coming up with our scripts, and we can go ahead and start shooting these videos. These are pretty solid, so let's see what it cooked. Now, these are in Spanish, and for the sake of cohesiveness, I'm gonna go ahead and read these in Spanish. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the let's go ahead and do ad 4, the how do I know you're real angle. So essentially, this is an ad basically breaking down that to look out for scams and people who are preparers, who are just going to prepare your case, but they're not really lawyers and they could, run off with your money. So, for example, ya te han mentido antes. Un notario que dijo que ser abogado, un consultor que desapareció con tu dinero. Ya te han mentido antes. Un notario que dijo ser abogado, un consultor que desapareció con tu dinero. ¿Cómo saber a quién creerle ahora? So let's go ahead and go with ad number 2. So as you guys can see, it provided the scripts. So let's go ahead and pick one that we can go ahead and use. Let's go with ad number 2, the wrong box angle, right? This is in Spanish, of course. So for the sake of cohesiveness for the video, I'm just going to go ahead and explain to you guys what it is saying. So for pain, now anybody who can read Spanish, more than welcome to read this and take a look yourselves. But really quick, what it says is ad number 2, We lead with pain. It basically says one small error on the form I-589. Before submitting your form, let a real attorney review your case for free. In a 15-minute call, we'll tell you exactly what errors or things to look out for and things that need to be done to your case. So we went ahead and laid it out on the table. They know exactly what we can do for them. We went ahead and provided them value up front. But why should they trust us? We need to provide them with some proof. Okay, so what you're going to want to go ahead and do is you want to fill this in. You're going to have something similar. You're going to go ahead and say your attorney name and say, you're going to break down why they should trust you. This is where I like to put in things like we've worked. So what I would say typically is the name of your law firm. I would say something like, here at Caseflow Law Group, we've helped over 1,000 people submit their asylum case successfully. We've now established who you guys are in the industry, how much experience we have, and why they should trust us. Another thing you guys can do if you guys don't want to do that is mention, testimonials. So say this is the exact same error that Carlos was going through. This is the exact same error that Juan Garcia was going through before he started working with us, and we can show maybe like a photo, and we can show a photo of the client with a testimonial photo. We can get really creative here in our video ads. So I'll pop up a picture of what something might look like, of something that you guys might want to throw up in your ad when you're talking to the camera. This is something that we would throw up. Here's an example. Obviously, we'll blur out the face of the customer because we can't disclose who that person is. And again, I gotta add, some of the stuff here is probably going to be blurred out, as you guys can see in the video. As I'm making this video, I don't know exactly what needs to be blurred out yet, but I'm going to go ahead and blur out a lot of things because a lot of the information that is on here is sensitive information, and out of respect and non-disclosure agreements, I can't show some of this stuff. So I feel like I'm being as transparent as possible in this video. But yeah, some things just can't be shown. So with that being said, now that we have our script, our ad, what we're going to want to go ahead and do is film it. Now, this is the easy part. I'm going to be honest with you. This is the part where all you have to do is quite literally, I want you to grab your phone. You're going to go ahead and open up your camera. And all you're going to go ahead and do is prop it up on a tripod. Put it directly facing you. What I'd like to do is pick somewhat of a nice background. I'll throw up some examples of some backgrounds. You guys can put it up on a tripod. I like to put the camera, I would say, around 2 to 3 feet away from the subject. So you have some room. I like to keep it portrait level and up. You can do full body. I'd recommend portrait level and up so it stays super personal in the ad. The further you get from the camera, the less personal it feels. And not only that, but if you guys don't have microphones, you're gonna need a microphone if you're any farther than 2-3 feet. That's why I recommend doing it indoors where things are quiet and it's in a controlled environment. So let's say you guys already have your ad filmed. It will look something like this, right? So the next step after you guys have your ad filmed is actually launching the campaign. Okay, so with this being said, us launching the campaign is super simple. I want to go ahead and give you guys a super simple strategy on how to launch your campaign. This strategy is called a CBO campaign. Essentially what it is we're creating one campaign, one ad set, and we're going to get all of our angles, all 5 angles that we just came up with, and we're going to make them compete against each other, fighting for one budget, as to compare to other strategies that you may see online where there's 2 different ad sets and you're making those 2 ad sets and you're pouring budget into both of those ad sets and letting campaigns fight within those ad sets. It's more complicated. It's not necessary for this. Meta's AI is extremely good at targeting our ideal customer if we know who we're targeting. That's why it was super important that we come up with an ICP, because in our ads, we're quite literally describing exactly who we're targeting, and Meta understands to a T who we're targeting based on framing on our video, based on text captions in our video, based on the transcript that Meta reads from our ads. It analyzes everything from your ad to understand who you're targeting. So really quick, let's jump into the ads manager. And I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the exact structure that I would run for your law firm. Okay, so let's go ahead and take care of that right now. Now we're going to go into my ads manager, and let's go ahead and create one. Okay, so we're going to want to go ahead and go with leads. Okay, well, all these are great, but I'm going to simplify this for you. Leads, we're going to go ahead and continue. Okay, once we go ahead and continue, we're going to want to set it to campaign budget. This is what I was talking about. There's ad set budget and campaign budget. We're going to want to put our money at the top of the funnel. A budget that I recommend starting with, depending on where you're at. If you're a firm that's not too big yet, honestly, you can generate leads at just $30 a day. Okay. This is something that you guys can start with. If you're a bigger firm that's just trying to pour gas into the fire, you guys are already doing well. You guys have different marketing channels, and you guys are just looking to add advertisement as an extra, and you guys are just looking to add meta ads as an extra source of leads, then I would go ahead and start anywhere from $100 a day, or even go as low as $75 or $50 a day. But let's just say 100. Okay. So now that we have a $100 daily budget, that's around $3,000 a month. I would say it's still a small budget, depending on what type of service we're working with right now. If we're working with bigger budget, smaller niche services, like let's say we were wanting to do like something like an EB5 visa, that's like an $800,000 investment, then obviously we're probably not going to get the best leads for $30 a day. I'm going to just be honest with you. That's a $900 a month budget. Now, I'm not saying you can't get leads. I'm just saying it's going to be a lot higher. We're going to have a much higher cost per lead. So with that being said, your results are going to be slower. So cool. Now that we have that established, let's go ahead and move on. I like to leave all of this as is, and we go ahead and move on to the next step. Okay, we're in our ad set level now. What I like to do here before actually is let's name this CBO. We name it the type of service we're doing. Let's say asylum campaign. Okay, so we got that figured out. Let's move on to new leads ad set. Okay, so right here we put in the same thing, asylum okay. So as you can see here, the conversion location, we're going to just set it to instant form. Now, instant form is essentially a qualifying form inside of Meta. And you guys are going to want to come up with your own qualifying questions, the questions that you guys ask prospects. They'll fill it out. This is what they'll come across before submitting their information to your law firm. Okay. So maximize number of leads. This is what I like to start with when we're testing our offer, testing our creatives, because we just want to see who gets through the door first before we actually, start messing with, maximize number of conversion leads or higher intent things. So leave all of this as is. I like to leave all of this alone. And we're going to go ahead and go down a location. Again, like I said, if you have a location specific, then we're going to go ahead and put our location. In this case, we were doing Dallas, Texas. So for the sake of this, we'll do Dallas, Texas, and 25-mile radius is fine. So let's go ahead and leave it like that. Okay. Now, I know sometimes you might want to target, surrounding cities or surrounding areas, so you can do that as well. It all just comes down to what you know best for that service, right? In this case, asylum, it's a very local thing. There's a bunch of people needing for that in your city, so we're just going to go ahead go with a small radius of 25 miles. So with that being said, again, leave this alone. Everything here, leave it alone. The next thing that we're going to go ahead and do is leave all of this alone. We did say an age range of 20 plus. So let's go ahead and do 20 plus. We go ahead and do that right there. Okay. All of these things here now. Back then, back in the day, in the ancient times, when people were running ads, you would go in here and do, detailed targeting, type in all types of interests like immigration and, to really find the person that we're trying to target. We would put in lawyers, people that are looking for legal services. We put all these interests to try to find the right person. But the reason why we don't have to do that anymore is because we built an ICP. We created an offer. We shot the ads and we provided that to Meta, and Meta is going to do all the heavy lifting for us. They know exactly who we're targeting based on our advertisement because we literally told it who to target. Meta analyzes all of this and it finds the people for us because they use their own AI to analyze our videos and reach people that we're looking for, right? you got to remember it like this. Meta's a business. They're going to do what they have to keep us spending our bucks into their business, right? So what better way to do that than putting money in our pockets, so we put more money in their pockets, right? That's the way that I like to look at it. Again, scroll down here. I would leave all of this alone. The one thing that I do like to turn off here that a lot of people don't is audience network. So we just don't need that. So let's go ahead and turn that one off. Now we're going to go ahead and press next. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and pick our form, okay? So if you guys haven't made a form yet, you're going to go ahead and create form, okay? So scroll down, press create form. You're going to name your form. I would just say asylum. Now, keep in mind, this form name isn't going to be shown to your client, so you can name it whatever you want, okay? So right here, again, we just want to test our offers, see who bites. Let's go for more volume. We don't want to do higher intent because higher intent, basically what it adds is a review step that gives people a chance to confirm their information. So it'll like require leads to like verify their phone number. It'll send them a text and they have to put the code in on the form. It's just an extra step that's just not necessary yet because we don't know if these leads are even interested in what we have to offer yet. So let's just go for more volume so Meta shows our ads to more people, okay? So let's go ahead and press next. This is where you want to put your headline, your description, and moving forward our questions, okay? So we go ahead and press on add question. I would just do a multiple choice. A question that I would ask is, what type of immigration service are you looking for? In this case, we put all the options like, you know, family petitions, naturalizations, any kind of investor visa. We'd add those options there. I would add anywhere between 3 to 4 answer options for every single question. Anything more than that is excessive and it could affect our lead quantity and quality. So cool. Now that we have that figured out, we have our questions. So I would just put like, and for the sake of this video, I'm just filling this out as I go. But what I do is, what we really want to do is we go over to Claude, and based on the disqualifying things that we've told it, we ask it to help us build an instant form qualification questionnaire. So that's what you would go ahead and do in here. And obviously, since it varies case by case, I can't provide a template for that, but that's the only manual part that you guys really have to do. Everything else, I'm showing you guys exactly how to do it step by step. So we want to put our options here. So we have all our steps here. You obviously want to add more options. We have more here. And this is the part that I like to put properly. So I like to keep full name above. I like to put phone number before email. And do not make phone number optional. Please do not make phone number optional, because a lot of people will submit their form without their phone number, and we're not going to have a great way of contacting them because nobody checks their email nowadays, and we don't need this. So this is what they will see, okay? So with that being said, once we have our questions filled out, the prospect will go through a form that looks like this with the headline saying like, let us help you start your immigration process. Have you been injured in an 18-wheeler accident? And then we ask the questions. Once they're done with the questions, they'll be prompted to a contact information page where they fill out name, number, and email. And then a privacy policy page. This is where you just fill out your privacy policy page. If you guys have a website, which you guys should already have a website, you just take your privacy policy page from your website link, paste it in here, and add any disclaimer you guys may need to add. If you guys are promoting, you know, a free quick call and it's not by an attorney and it's not really constituted as legal advice, maybe add a disclaimer. Hey, that free 15-minute call that we're providing, that we're promoting or advertising on our ads, is not legal advice. It is just a pre-qualification call. It's something that we would like to say, right? just to kind of save our ass in the end. So just to kind of make things clear that we're not necessarily giving legal advice, and it's important to add a disclaimer if we have any kind of disclaimer. So then this is the thank you page. This is what I like to call the thank you page, or the ending page is what Meta calls it. You can put something like, it already has a preset text saying, thanks, you're all set. I would like to prompt it usually for next steps. I usually like to tell the lead the next steps here. So we say, thanks, you're all set. A team member will reach out very soon. And then it has a button option to prompt them to a next step. So you can either put the link to your website, you can have them call your business, or you can have them link directly to a WhatsApp. Okay, so this is really good. This is a really good option. Just have them send them to a WhatsApp. You put in your number to call them, and you'll be able to see a WhatsApp option as well for people who want to reach you guys via WhatsApp. So once you guys have that, you will press publish. Okay, now that once we press publish, I'm not going to publish this for the sake of the video, but I'm going to go ahead and close the form. I'm just save it as a draft, but you guys will have a form that looks like this. That looks like this. You guys will click on the form. In this case, this is just an old form that I have. So I just went ahead and selected on that one. And what we're going to go ahead and do is turn off, make sure before we do anything, before we did any of this, make sure this is off. Multi-advertiser ads. Basically what this means is it's going to show your ad along with a bunch of other ads, and we don't want that. You know, we want our ad to be shown on its own, not along with a bunch of other advertisements, because then it's a waste. Nobody's watching that, right? So what I like to do is just make it super simple. Just do ad number one. What I like to do is I like to name it ad number one. Just make it super simple, easy to find. And what we're going to go ahead and do now is import our creative. So depending on whether you went with image or video, you go ahead and press on video. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and select one of the ads.
Está pensando en que
Once you selected your ad, another way to do this is press upload. You're going to go ahead and upload the ad if you haven't already. And once you upload it, you'll be able to click on it and press next. This is extremely important. Okay, so this part right here, you're going to want to put your primary text. Now, primary text is just that long description that people see on those ads. And I'm going to go ahead and provide an example of what that looks like right here on the screen. This is what an example of that looks like for primary text. Then our headline. Now, headlines are super simple. Think of a headline as another call to action. It's another place where we get to kind of tell them what to do next. This headline will appear right next to the CTA button, the learn more button, the sign up button, as you can see, the call to action button. So what I do is the number one that I like to use is learn more, because it's low commitment. It doesn't force people to, you know, other ones like sign up, apply now, get offer, get quote, book now. These are all very strong words that are like, I don't know if I'm ready to pull the trigger yet, right? So this is very low intent. Learn more, just learn more, you know? So right here, again, use something like this example right here to make your primary text. The format that I like to do is similar to the ads. I like to do like a call out of the prospect and location if we have location. If we didn't use location, just the call out of the prospect. So leading with the pain point. If we are location specific for our ad, we want to make sure it's extremely important to put the location above as well. Okay, like this example right here. Reason why is because, again, Meta analyzes everything, every part of our ad. So if we throw that up there, Meta will make sure to target people in that area or interested in that thing. So once we have that filled out, we're going to go on ahead and press next. Okay, once we press next, make sure every single one of these are turned off. Okay, so for example, I would turn all of these off. Make sure every single one is turned off. It's super important. Meta will try to trick you and keep them on. Once you press done, your ad will look like this. Okay, you'll have a CTA. So let's just go ahead and put something like right, and then just put here an example of what I'm going to go ahead and do just for the sake of this is just take the first line of our ad real quick. Just for the sake of you guys seeing exactly what it would look like completely filled out. This is what our ad would look like, okay? Call to action, headline right here, primary text above, and then when they click on that learn more button, they'd be taken to our qualifying form, okay? Now, see, this is where they try to trick us again. You see how we turned off every single enhancement by Meta? What we're going to want to go ahead and do is go back in here and edit that because they're trying to keep something on. As you can see, there's relevant comments is still on. So we go down here, we find it, and we turn it off. Okay, save. Meta is just trying to push their features, and that's why they automatically have them all on. But it's important we turn them off, okay? With that being said, we're ready to go. What we're going to want to go ahead and do is, now that we made this one perfect, ready to go, we're going to want to go ahead and press these 3 buttons up here and press quick duplicate. Turn this off, press duplicate, and you will have an exact copy of this one up here. Now let's go into the copy. Let's name this ad number 2. We're basically just doing the second ad, right? Since we filmed 5 ads, we're going to have 5 different ads. We go here, we press change selection, and we select our new ad, right? So we would press upload if it's not uploaded. If it's already uploaded, we select the second ad, okay? But I would delete this one right here because it adds them as multiple now. Then press next. Again, see how it saved our primary text. Since we did a quick duplicate, it gave us an exact copy of our last ad. Make sure everything's turned off and press done. As you can see, we have our ads loaded. We have all of our ads in here. In this case, I have 2. You would want to do this process 5 times. And all you're left to do now is preview your ads and press publish, okay? Now, what happens now? Now that we published our ads, they're going to be processing in review, and they're most likely going to be launched. I would say there's a buffer period of like 30 minutes before, from pressing publish to Meta actually approving them and launching them. And now all you guys do is make sure that when these leads come in, we call them within the first 10 minutes. Okay, let's go back to this. You guys remember this workflow here. We went ahead and did every single step, right? We created our ICP, we made our offer, and we've shot our ads, and we've launched our campaign. Now, the next step, this is exactly what our agency does, is again the qualifying form, right? In this form that you guys made, that form that you guys made in Meta, we want to make sure that it is actually qualifying them, right? We're not just asking questions to ask them, questions that can be answered on a quick follow-up call after they submit the information. We want to ask them things like, are you already working with an attorney? Has your accident happened for less than 2 years or more than 2 years? Quick questions like that would actually qualify the prospect, compared to just asking questions like, what type of service are you looking for? Where are you located? All these questions that don't necessarily matter, that we can get later on in the as time goes on, right? So with that being said, the 3 questions that I like to ask is what, when, and one qualifying question. So in this case, we asked like, how soon are you looking to get started? Urgencies within the 1 to 3 months. What type of service? And what state is your case in? Have you already started working with an attorney, or have you already presented to USCIS, right? This is what would qualify a lead. If a lead is qualified, they typically that ending page, you want to have some next steps. So like, thank you for submitting our form. Here's the next steps. Our team is going to call you within the next 7 minutes. We're going to evaluate your answers to see if you qualify, and then we're going to book a call with the attorney, right? So with that being said, I showed you guys how to do it with an instant form, but our team working with our agency, we do it with custom made landing pages. Basically, this landing page is made to educate prospects when they land on it. It'll look like this. It'll have a video describing your service, what you guys do, and how you guys help them. So essentially like another mini ad, but breaking down your business. The reason why this is important to do compared to an instant form is because if we're, trying to attract, a bigger ticket case, a bigger type of client that, costs more than your average case that you guys sell. So like an E2, an EB2, an EB5, things like that, or, an 18-wheeler accident that may be, a needle in a haystack type of case. You want to give them more information, more education. So we want to do something like a 2-minute video on a landing page. And not only that, but we're able to, really customize things more. And these forms are the exact forms that work really well for our agency to help our current active attorneys get qualified consultations on their active calendar. Okay, so this isn't just me talking. These are things that we are actively doing. I'm quite literally showing you guys screenshots of an example form from one of our builds that we've built for our clients. Okay, so next thing that happens, now this is something that you guys might want to implement. This is something that we implement in our agency, is that for our internal team, at least, we have a source of communication. You guys need to have a channel of communication, whether that is Slack, WhatsApp, messages, it doesn't matter. You guys need to have some sort of automation that when a lead comes in, your team is notified. So in this case, our team gets notified of every single lead that comes in. I'll pop up some examples of different lead notifications that come in. Our team has 7 to 15 minutes to call these leads and get them booked into your calendar. The reason why we do that is to show the lead that we care about them. We make it a very personalized experience. Again, we want things to feel personal, because if they don't feel personal, they're just not going to commit. Okay, at the end of the day, I feel like we're in a trust recession, so it's super important for us to actually establish that trust immediately. Okay, so with this process, you also want to pair a call with an automation text, a text that looks something like this. As you can see, this is an example of our automation working perfectly fine. And the prospect answers and says, "Hey, yes, I'd like to speak. Are you available to speak at 2 p.m.? This is a great example of why it's extremely important to have SMS automations when the lead comes in. If you guys need help building out this system, we can make sure to book a call with our team below, and we'll be more than happy to break down exactly how we can implement this for your business within 7 days of working with us. We can help implement this exact system. If you guys just need the system, we can help you guys do that. If you guys just need a consultation on what you guys are stuck on, we can most definitely help you guys with that. But other than that, your calendar, after you guys implement this exact system, will look like this. From just a $30 a day budget, a $50 a day budget, you guys can get leads, qualified leads to be exact, booked into your calendar, into your sales reps calendars. And like I said, this isn't just me talking. This is an actual screenshot of one of our attorneys' calendars. This is all from one marketing channel at a $30 a day budget. Okay, so with that being said, if you even have a 30% close rate, a 20% close rate. Out of these many leads, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 22 leads here, right? If we have a 20 to 30% close rate, that means that at least, 2 to 4 of these close at a, let's say your service is $4,000, $3,000, times that by 2 to 3. Let's do 3 times 3. That's around $9,000 generated from a 20 to 30% close rate, right? $9,000, and all we spent was $30 a day. Okay, that's a $900 ad spend budget. That's a 9x return on your investment. Okay, so with that being said, this is just proof that this system works. I'm being as transparent as possible, as much as I can show. As you can see, this is the calendar. I'm probably going to go ahead and blur these names out because this is just confidential information I just can't show you guys. But you guys get the idea. The next step is essentially step number 5. Now, this is a framework that we like to use for our pipelines, right? Right now, this is one in Spanish for a Spanish law firm that we work with. Again, this information is going to be blurred out. These are active screenshots of clients, so I need to blur all this stuff out. So, for example, new lead. This is a new lead pipeline. This is where every single new lead from your Meta ad account will show up. Right here is a contact attempted pipeline. So every lead that gets contacted, our team drags them here once they attempt to call them within that 15-minute time frame. If they were able to reach out, they drag them to the next step, which is first contact made. And then if they made contact and they actually were able to get them booked in, they drop them into booked call pipeline. Okay, so then from here, you guys would take it from here. Once we book them in and you guys have a pipeline for yourselves, basically saying, did the lead show up to the consultation? Did they actually close? Did they not show up? And are they not qualified? This is where our team drops in the not qualified ones when they first make that first attempt. Okay. So this is what your pipeline will look like. This is what it would also look like, right? So we put an opportunity value depending on what kind of service we're promoting. Okay, opportunity value in this case was 3,500. I know. Everything else was probably a breeze in the park for you guys. It was easy. Setting up the ads, shooting the ads, filming the ads, coming up with your ICP. This is all things you know. These are all things that are in your control. But some things are just out of our control. As an attorney, you only have so much time on your hands, so many hours in a day. Your team only has so many hours in the day, and not let alone so many hours in the day that you can actually delegate, right? So with that being said, something that we offer at our agency, if you guys are in need and you feel like all of this is doable, but the one thing you guys can't do, you feel like, hey Hazi, look, I can do all of this. The only thing that we can't do is we can't keep up with these leads. We can't call these leads. We plug in a live human setter into this system to work one-on-one with you guys to help you guys generate qualified leads into the calendar rather than just letting anyone through the door, right? This is extremely important because we use our intake specialist as a doctor to find all of the things that may disqualify them and get them out of our pipeline, because we do not want our attorneys working with any unqualified prospects. That is a waste of time. We feel like any attorney who's talking to an unqualified prospect should not waste a breath, because it is just a waste of billable hours for you and your team. And with that being said, we make sure that our intake specialists take care of that. These are trained, vetted intake specialists that make sure that you guys are only speaking to qualified prospects. So with that being said, that sums up the video. This is the exact process that me and my team currently actively use for all of our clients, and I hope you guys got value from this video. I generally just want to provide value. I want to show you guys what we do, how we do it, and how you can do it for yourself, right? I feel like a lot of people on social media now, they kind of just gatekeep everything behind a book to call funnel, speak with our team, and I just want to provide all the value up front. You guys saw the exact system that we use, the exact process that we do, the exact things that we say in our ads. And if you guys have any questions, make sure to leave a comment down below. Other than that, if you guys need help with that setter process, make sure to book a call with our team. We'd be more than happy to diagnose your problems and see where we can help and how we can help you guys get farther ahead with your meta ads journey. Because other than that, appreciate you guys for watching. Have a great day.